Welcome to the Growlers and Gremlins podcast, an alcoholic adventure in cryptids, paranormal, and the occult. Coming to you weekly from the heartland of America.
Welcome to Growlers and Gremlins, and Merry Christmas! I am John, your favorite host and theorist. With me, I have...
Jason, the analyst.
Kevin, the replacement for that little bitch, Brian.
And Jesse, the replacement for the guest.
No one wants to be on your damn podcast, I think.
Everybody's canceling.
Yeah, a bit of a weird week. We had Brian cancel. Was it?
Unfortunately, he had an accident with his equine love partner. We hope him a speedy recovery and that they can, sew everything back in place.
And our guest, original guest, Jared, he's just flaky and awful. But, yeah, we'll press on. And, so it's going to be a little bit different this next few weeks because rather than 4 different people presenting topics, it's just going to be Jason and I doing everything. So anyway, being that it is Christmas time, I believe this comes out December 23rd.
Don't make me pull up a spreadsheet while I'm recording.
December 23rd, I believe, 2 days before Christmas. So in honor of that, we have our beer of the week. From Taxman Brewing Company, we've got Tax Holiday, which is like a Christmassy beer. Got a bunch of snowflakes on the can.
A Belgian-style dark ale with buckwheat honey. So that ought to be interesting.
Okay.
Ooh,
I don't hate it.
I like that a lot.
Well, I can't say I don't like it, but
I really like Belgian beers.
It tastes like a wussy.
This is good.
definitely plenty of flavor.
Oh, yeah.
Generally, Belgian beers, I think, taste like blood. Don't know why. This one doesn't really, though.
Well, and now I'm done with it.
But it's really sweet.
Yeah, I was the one that had to pick up beers this week, and I attempted to hit on the cashier while I was there, and she just did not give 2 fucks. I'm like, oh yeah, we're reviewing this for a podcast. Oh, okay. That did not give a shit.
No,
cool.
Because she probably thought that you were like some craft brew douche who's like, yes, on my podcast, Untapped, we talk about all the latest microbrews. And like, it probably thought you were like some kind of douchey beer snob that comes in there 10 times a week.
Podcast guy in once a week.
Yeah, but probably. You're a professional taster.
Hitting on her, trying to get into her pants. You made that sucker.
What's that called? A suave or a
You're thinking
savant.
No, you're thinking of a wine taster, which is a sommelier.
What's a savant? That's
A savant.
No, that's not at all.
That's Kevin's clientele.
An idiot savant, knowledgeable about one thing and one thing only.
Brian, Russia. Brian is a savant.
Brian, Russia.
Yeah.
An idiot savant.
He's definitely...
He's retarded about everything else.
I don't think there's any debate that Brian is probably on the spectrum.
A subject matter expert.
Yeah.
I think he's actually going to get insulted more not being here than being here.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Because he chose not to be here.
You should have came and defended yourself, bitch.
But he thought he got out easy.
He will learn.
The problem is apparently his poops are coming out too easy. So he can't be here tonight. Okay, so... being that it's Christmas time and the type of podcast this is and the things that we cover, it's expected for any credible podcast that we do Krampus. So we're not going to do Krampus. So my original thinking was, I think this will be really great. This will be funny. I'm going to build up this whole thing. We're going to talk about this cryptid, and it's Santa Claus. So we just discuss Santa Claus as a cryptid. I was like, well, that's really going to last 5 minutes because as soon as I say one thing, everyone's going to be like, oh, you're talking about Santa Claus. Right. So I was like, you know what? Let's just change it up a little bit.
Besides, I think Netflix beat you to it.
They did?
What's that Kurt Russell Christmas where he's like...
He's not a cryptid. He's just Santa.
Well, he's got cryptids helping him. The elves are actual cryptids and stuff.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Netflix really
did a good job
idea
with that. But, so I thought, let's actually change gears a little bit. And let's just
talk about Rudolph.
Let's just tell some creepy Christmas stories. So I collected online a few, I think I've got 3 stories here that are supposedly true scary Christmas stories, like experiences people have had. 2 of them I think are believably true. One just kind of comes off as like a really cool creepypasta, but they say it was true. But I mean, obviously not. But it makes a good point.
Well, Jesse says he's a veteran, so
Yeah. Oh, I knew it was coming.
Look,
As soon as he said, "Oh yeah," and Kevin stepping in for Brian, I was like, "Oh."
So it's going to be a little bit different format. I'm going to read one of these stories. We'll discuss it a bit, and then we'll do another one, like little mini segments, mini topics.
You do realize we managed to get Marine Santa Claus.
Yeah.
For the Christmas episode.
We do have Kevin for the Christmas episode.
You should play a Santa Claus.
Which is absolutely
sometime.
perfect because Kevin has a fantastic...
for a few years.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Usually it's for a bunch of old women who want to come up there and grab Santa's junk.
Hey, whatever works.
Yeah.
Well, Kevin actually has a really great Christmas story because Kevin's dad died on Christmas when he was a little boy.
No. A week before Christmas. I still had joy on Christmas.
Still one of my favorite stories.
There's still a thread left.
No shit. I still got a toy on Christmas. You motherfucker!
Jason sent me this little video the other day. It took me a second to get it because I just woken up. But it's just a video of this guy sitting in his car and he says, "You know, the majority of people don't know that the F in orphan stands for family."
I figured with your wife's situation, that was pretty funny.
It was so funny. It took me a minute to get that, though. I was like, wait a minute, there is no F in orphan. Oh. I get it.
God, I can't wait till we start recording at your house. All the orphan jokes can start flying again.
Oh, yeah. Well, that'll be actually next session. We're moving in a week from today. So that'll all be finally done. So, all right, let's get this started. Story number 1. Here we go.
Are we starting?
Yes.
Are you sure?
We need to get in narrative mode.
Oh.
So that people can just clip it out and enjoy this moment. It was Christmas night, and my family were driving home from this fancy restaurant. I, unlike my family, wasn't tired, so the 45-minute drive seemed perpetual. On top of that, my little sister was constantly moaning about how her friend didn't get her anything for Christmas. After about 20 minutes of driving, my dad stopped at the gas station to get some cigarettes. And my sister, brother, and mother all got out to pee. I stayed in the car as I had already gone before we left. Once they all left, I decided to play a few games on my phone. I looked at the car clock and saw that 10 minutes had passed. So I immediately wondered what was taking them so long. As soon as I peered out the car window, I saw a man staring at our car. The man startled me as I didn't know how long he had been watching. What made it even more unnerving is that he had a plain blank face. No expression was shown. It was hard to make out any features as it was pretty dark, but he wasn't standing in an illuminated part of the station. He was about 5'9" and looked to be middle-aged. Once he saw me notice him, he started walking towards the car, and I'd be lying to you if I said I wasn't scared. Luckily, my dad came back with the rest of the family just as... I'm gonna get hiccups.
This sounds like a typical response to seeing Brian.
Okay, luckily my dad came back with the rest of the family just as the man took a couple steps. My dad apologized and told me he had been in an argument with the cashier. I didn't care. I was just glad that my dad was with me. I took another glance at the man outside and he was still staring, but this time he had an annoyed look on his face. We drove off, and for the rest of the car ride, I couldn't stop thinking about that man. This wouldn't have been too bad if it had ended there, but it didn't. Later that night, I was watching YouTube while everyone else slept, and luckily for me, a storm was raging over us. I enjoy storms. It makes me cozy as I'm laying in bed. I put my phone down and just enjoyed the ambience. That didn't last for long, as I heard something smash into the window behind me. I lurched forward and nearly fell out of bed. I thought a bird had just smashed into the window. I parted the blinds, and what I saw next haunted me. I saw a man standing out by my parents' car, looking up at my room. I took a closer look and I nearly had a heart attack. It was the same man that I saw at the gas station, only this time, when our eyes met, he grinned. Being the 14-year-old I was, I did the manly thing and screamed at the top of my lungs. My dad came running down the stairs and entered my room. "Why are you screaming?" he said.
"We'll join the National Guard."
I told him about the man, and I explained everything that had happened. My dad grabbed a baseball bat and told me to call the police. After 10 minutes, the police turned up outside our house and found the man in our shed. He got arrested, and that was the last time I saw him. The next day, my dad inspected the house, and we found the handle of our back door had been damaged, but not completely broken. This gives me an eerie feeling, as if he actually managed to get in, he could have harmed us or possibly killed us. That's story number 1.
That sounds like some Hot Topic Twinks, like Twilight fanfic.
It's kind of creepy, though, because, like, if you think about that, like...
So there's no weird slaughter in there?
No, but to me, the weirdest part of the story was, like, okay, yeah, this guy is at a gas station, sees them, follows them home, all this, but, like, the cops show up and find him in their shed? What was he doing in there?
Abusing himself. What the hell do you think he was doing? He saw that lovely little twink up there and staring down at him.
He found the WD-40 and decided to just go to town.
Well, for me, this was one of the ones that, like, going through all these Christmas stories online, I was trying to find something with that could even possibly be credible, because there's so many ridiculous stories about, like, I saw Santa and he was evil, you know? But, like, this one was like, there's nothing extremely out of the ordinary about this story, but it's creepy. Like, it could happen to anybody.
Well, like you say, the guy was like hiding in the shed. So I actually had an experience in Indianapolis when this is like dirt cheap apartments I was living in, where one of my neighbors
Worse than this one?
Surprisingly, yes.
Holy shit.
But one of my neighbors had decided to choke the life out of his ex-girlfriend and then stab her. Cops found him hiding in a dumpster at the edge of the apartment complex. So people do dumb things when they decide to hide. So
yeah, that's nice. You know, one time when I was growing up in my parents' house, I had this bedroom upstairs that was on the back side of the house, and I woke up because I was just hearing all this yelling. It was the middle of the night. What's going on? And I'd look out the window and I can see into the backyard, and there's police lights everywhere. Their house is on a hill with woods behind it, and there's police lights all over the place. I'm like, what is going on? And then I see this dude come out of the woods and just start sprinting away, and he's coming like towards the house, and then a cop tackles him. So it turns out this guy got arrested, or he had gotten pulled over on the highway, and he didn't have a license, and he was drunk. So he just booked it on foot, ran through the woods, and ended up in my parents' backyard. The police knew where those woods were going to come out, so they just pulled in the driveway, got him as he came out of the woods. That was a weird night. Yeah,
my YouTube algorithm has changed a lot recently.
Yeah.
So I've been seeing a lot of Donut Operator. I don't know if you watch him or not.
Yes.
But it's a lot of that kind of police footage, like dumbass decides to run from the cops type stuff.
He's awesome. Donut Operator. But, you know, not a lot there in that story. It's just, you know, it's one of those things. Gave me a little goosebumps when I read it. And you have no idea how many of these things I had to read. Like, I was going through trying to find like creepy true Christmas stories, and it's like there's a ton out there. Most of them are not very good. Some of them are really fake.
But there's always a story.
Yeah. So I tried to take stuff that was kind of in the middle.
Brian, this is what you do before an episode. You read a lot of shit.
Yeah.
He won't even hear the episode, even though he's like missing from it. Like he doesn't, you know.
He's not going to go back and listen.
He does listen to the episodes when he's at work.
Really?
Yeah, he said he listens to them.
He'll be listening to this one the next time we're playing Call of Duty.
No, that's when he's always listening to Timcast. Like every single day, if we're playing something online, you can hear Timcast in the background. It's like, oh, Brian, same thing every day. But, okay, so the second one I put in here because, I mean, it's clearly like a creepypasta or something. But at the end of the story, the person who wrote it, they make a lot of good points that got me thinking about a lot of things. I'll just read you this story real quick. It is not as long as the first one, so it just shouldn't be too long. I have to admit, I'm not a fan of Christmas, not due to any Scrooge-like tendencies or anything, but because of what I saw when I was 7. I was very excited to see what I was going to get on Christmas Day, you see. So I crept down the stairs at 2 or so in the morning. The grandfather clock in the hallway was slowly ticking. I remember it only too well. I found myself shaking as I turned the living room doorknob. Was I that excited? Why did the metal feel so cold? So as not to wake my parents, I slowly pushed the door open. It would squeak if you did it too fast. Crept into the living room. It was dark and cold. I mean, so cold I could make out my breath in what little light there was. Was the heating broken? The switch to the dimmer lights was next to the door. I turned it on and slowly turned the dial. In the diminishing gloom, I could make out the armchairs and the Christmas tree, beneath which I could already glimpse the presents, and the leering, skinless face that was now just an inch away from me. Its pupilless eyes seemed to stare straight through me as its stench hit my nostrils. Like rotting meat via burnt ozone, the thing reared back, its lipless face falling back behind the ragged hood it wore. It turned away and lurched and limped towards the tree. I could see more of it now. It was stooped and withered, emaciated and cadaverous, draped with the rotting rags of what I guess must once have been a robe. The thing seemed mesmerized by the tree, its head swiveling eerily from side to side as it contemplated what was before it. Then it turned and looked directly at me, lifting a bony finger up to its face where its lips may once have been. My mouth was agape. I was rooted to the spot. I tried to scream, but no noise came out. Finally, I managed to retreat from the living room, turning off the light as I went. I closed the door quietly and crept up the stairs, too petrified to do anything else. I ran to my room and hid under the covers. Only then did I manage to finally, silently sob with fear. The next morning, I put on a brave face and pretended to be excited as I unwrapped my presents with everyone else. Mom must have known there was something wrong, as she asked if I was okay. I lied and said I was just tired, as I couldn't sleep the night before. As you do when you're 7 and it's Christmas Eve. She hesitated for a moment, but brushed it off as we picked up all the torn wrapping paper left behind. But all I could think of was that thing that I saw the night before. I barely played with my new toys. I just kept seeing its face every time I closed my eyes. As the years have drawn on, I've pondered this in some detail. We've forgotten what Christmas really is. It is how we used to survive the darkest, grimmest time of the year. That's what all the tinsel and merrymaking, Santa Claus, all stems from. That need to shut out the darkness and the howling blizzard outside. Yet I think there is something else, too. All that crap about Christmas being magical is true. We dress it up with elves and reindeer with red noses, but it's more than that. There's a reason why we used to tell ghost stories at Christmas, till Halloween took over. It is the one point of the year where the boundaries between this world and others are at their thinnest. No wonder they have a festival and a nativity this time of year. Consciously or not, we're warding off the horrors the horror that seeps into our world during Yuletide. Maybe all the rituals, tacky though they are these days, appease the things that wait, and ward them off for another year. What's a Christmas tree but an old pagan totem decorated in candles? A ward, an appeasement. These days I just blot it out of my mind and pretend I'm a Buddhist or something. But there's one last thing I will never forget. All those years ago, the next night, the scrawled note I found under my pillow said just one word. Shh.
Okay, so I get why you say this sounds very creepypasta, because it does.
It definitely does. But the points that he makes at the end about Christmas, which got me looking back into the old pagan traditions of Yuletide and things like that.
It really sounds like someone was getting Halloween confused with Christmas.
Oh, shit.
No, like there's actually a lot of credence to that. Like if you follow like old European folklore, Christmas and like the winter solstice is a very, very dark time. And back then, it was also the time where you had to try the hardest to survive. Cold, they couldn't grow things in the winter, it was dark. I mean, it's just, it was a dark time. So we created these great, happy holidays to take our minds off of it.
Right.
Yeah, because you also look at, like you know, like you said, everyone expects us to do Krampus. I mean, you have a dark story around the solstice that, you know.
Which, that all led into me finding out, I didn't realize this, but the Wild Hunt actually is associated with Christmas.
You mean the Witcher thing?
The actual thing, the Wild Hunt.
Oh, okay.
From old Norse folklore. It's been across a lot of different cultures, the idea of the Wild Hunt. But traditionally, it comes during the time of Yule.
I'm also vaguely remembering like legends of like having to leave trinkets for, you know, whatever visited at Yule time to protect yourself and your family.
Yeah, and that's what the whole Santa Claus myth all pulls from these things. Like the Wild Hunt travels by a pack of like hellhounds and things, and or black horses in some traditions, and there's always like this one charismatic leader that's like this evil figure, and it's like, well, Santa Claus pulled by a reindeer,
and we just turned it into cute little reindeer.
Yeah, we just like we lightened it all, and it's like, maybe there is, maybe it was believed that there was some evil force that would come around every Yuletide,
an evil force that loves cookies and milk,
and by doing
that's what you have to give so they don't slaughter your family.
Yeah, or like by making it such a lighthearted, jolly thing, it maybe takes power from it. Like it's only evil if you believe in it and you give it power.
You gotta put sedatives in the cookies.
Yeah.
So, 2020, already a shit year. What if this whole...
One of the best years of my life so far.
Your wife almost dies.
No, overall, though, that went good, and so it's like, that was a good thing. Moved.
That'll teach her to fucking take advantage of you.
And now she's a lot better for it. So.
Yeah, it turned out good.
But what if the quote-unquote war on Christmas actually results in the lessening of this protection from whatever evil there was?
Let's get conspiracy theory here. Let's get conspiratorial. Okay? So the war on Christmas. The war on Christmas, the whole idea that you're not supposed to say Merry Christmas to people. You gotta say Happy Holidays. You have to respect all traditions.
Yeah, the Starbucks coffee cup changed, whatever.
What if what I said is true, like that making Christmas this great big deal and all jolly actually takes power away from this evil force that is coming at Yuletide to kill us?
Mm-hmm.
So there's a whole idea of, generally the war on Christmas is associated with the idea of globalism, just inclusionism, just let's include everyone, say Happy Holidays. But if you want to go the conspiracy theory route, globalists are evil. So if you go down the conspiracy theory rabbit hole, you could say that the war on Christmas is to give power to this evil being that comes at Yuletide. I mean, that's crazy down the rabbit hole, but that's a fun thought.
Yeah. We're just setting ourselves up for...
That's what I'm here for, though. I got to bring this stuff up. I've been down all the rabbit holes. But, yeah, I don't know. That really got me thinking about the whole idea of Christmas and, like, all the old traditions. It's like, there's a lot we don't know about our past, a lot we don't understand, a lot of magical traditions and things that it's like, well, maybe there's something to it. But, like, maybe the problem was solved through the creation of holidays and things and these rituals that we do, like gift giving and things like that. And maybe they've been gone so long that we no longer believe any of this is real. But what if it is real? Like, what's her name? There's this one in Iceland. It's like a old troll woman that comes down with her 13 sons. And the sons all, like, they come before Christmas and they do things. Like, one of them likes to lick the froth out of fresh milk from cows. The other one comes in your house and licks all your spoons. Basically, they all lick things.
He's just into skim milk. It's all good.
Sounds like some of my clients.
But basically, though,
licking.
This troll woman thing, like, comes and just eats all the bad children. Like, she takes them up to her mountain and then she, like, cooks them all up in a stew. And it's like, I don't know why there's just so many traditions around the world that involve...
I think they're talking about Kevin. I'm pretty sure he does that every year.
I like to lick the rusty spoons.
They, every year, though, or every tradition around the world, they have some kind of Christmas figure that does something to children. And it's like, well, where is this coming from? All across the world, there's got to be something that was going on.
And he married one.
What was the name of that? It started with a P.
I don't know. You have Google on your phone, don't you?
Yeah, it's such a creepy thing. Like, I want to do an episode on it at some point.
I forgot to mute the Google Home. It'll chime in if we say it too many times.
Let's see, the Icelandic troll.
Maybe Santa Claus's suit's red because of the blood of the children he's murdered.
So, okay, so the best part of it is that her sons are
called... You just don't have to wash it.
Grilla is her name. And her sons are called the Yule Lads. And she also has the Yule Cat, which is from Netflix's Christmas Chronicles 2. The Yule Cat is also a real thing, and it's a very...
I don't think it's from the Netflix show. I think
no, but I
they
mean,
used it in the Netflix show.
A recent reference, but the Yule Cat basically just, without any sort of discernment, just eats people. Like on Christmas, comes and eats people, unless they got new clothes for Christmas. If you got new clothes for Christmas, you won't get eaten by the Yule Cat.
So really, all these traditions go back to the idea of this gift-giving or jolliness protecting you from the evil. So, I mean, with the decline of that, we could see it coming back. Oh, we started off with a 10%.
Yeah, I just realized that the beer we're drinking is 10% alcohol.
That's why it's so
the
hearty.
First episode we're recording. So, it's good though, man. But that's why it was giving me those gas bubbles I was trying to read. It's like, oh, I'm getting heartburn.
It gave you gas bubbles because you're a pussy.
Yeah, I can't handle this 10% beer.
John with his beer queefs.
You have one more story?
I do. I have one more story for you guys.
Oh, fucking thank God.
And it's very short. Oh, no.
Even better.
All my notes are all confused now. Okay, so this is the last one that, this one, it's just, I don't know, it's just kind of weird. And it's just like one of those things that's like, this kind of stuff I feel like happens all the time, So I'll just read it to you. It was Christmas time of 1995 or 96 at my aunt's house on a reservation in North Dakota. Some of my family was in the living room watching television. The kids were playing in the rooms or sleeping. My uncle, aunt, and I were sitting at the table putting a puzzle together. My cousin, who worked at a casino, would come home around midnight or 1 a.m. This night she pulled up and was walking toward the house. She looked in the window and saw me sitting at the table, my uncle sitting across from me, and someone standing to the left of me, and someone standing in the corner. So she continued to walk in the house.
Middle with you.
Yeah.
All good stories start with a bad uncle.
So she continued to walk in the house, thinking nothing of it. As we were sitting there talking, she looked at me and asked who was standing next to me a few minutes ago and who was in the corner. I told her no one, and she said, yeah, there was someone standing next to you. It looked like your mom, and she was playing with your hair. I have long hair, which I used to wear down all the time. She said this person was running her hand on my hair like a mother does to a child. It kind of freaked me out, being I was only probably 12 or 13 at the time. My cousin swears up and down that someone was standing over me, rubbing my head, and watching me put the puzzle together with my aunt and uncle. And that there was another person standing behind this person. We got around to thinking it was probably her mom she saw. She passed away on her birthday a week before Christmas back in 1992. In my family, we consider our aunts and uncles to be just like our moms and dads. After thinking that it could have been her, it didn't scare me so much. However, we couldn't figure out who was standing in the corner. Ooh.
And
you know what I mean, though? Like when you...
Again, Halloween. It's a Halloween episode next year.
No, this is for Christmas. It was a Christmas-themed story.
Which, what was I think it was just called Krampus. There was a Krampus movie. Where
yes, it was great.
There was something along those lines where they were seeing relatives that had passed away as a part of that story, wasn't there?
I don't remember. I remember it being kind of a crazy, goofy movie.
Well, there was like the grandma that knew what was going on, and
yeah, that's true.
The old grandma that like knew, and she was warning everybody of like, you got to do this, otherwise Krampus,
That's right, because she had survived it before,
and everyone just thought she was crazy.
Yeah, that was actually like, I was going into that movie for a good time. I thought it'd be a goofy, fun horror movie. It was. It really delivered.
Oh yeah, it's great.
It was awesome. Like, well, because that year, I don't know what it was, but there was like this resurgence of Krampus popularity, and it was like 2012, 2013 that like Krampus
seems to happen,
really just popped
where,
up.
Like they'll all make the same basic premise.
Yeah,
it's kind of like back when Deep Impact and Armageddon came out like months apart.
What I think happened was at the time I worked at a bookstore, and there was a book that had come out called Krampus. It was a fictionalized account of Krampus, and it was a bestseller in like Christmas time 2013. And then we start getting all these movies. There's like one main movie, and there's like 30 B movies about Krampus, like all from the last few years.
All the Netflix ones, all the generic ones.
Yeah, or like
all the shitty Blumhouse ones.
Or like how The Office made Belschnickel like part of culture now. like in
What was the Seinfeld one? Festivus. Festivus for the rest of us.
Yeah, but I don't know. There's just a lot of weird stuff, like historically, about all of these holidays at wintertime. You know, Hanukkah's got its whole crazy story. Kwanzaa's a whole rabbit hole. Yeah.
Yeah, I've never actually looked into that one at all.
Kwanzaa was started by a guy who was like a wannabe cult leader who would like rape and torture women. And yeah, like he was a really bad dude, and he like made up this holiday called Kwanzaa, and he was an American, and like sold it as like this traditional African holiday. And a lot of people do believe that it is like a traditional holiday that has African origins and things like that, but it's actually not true at all. It was just this crazy dude that wanted to start a cult, and he created his own holiday.
Huh.
Yeah, I can't remember what his name was, but like, yeah, he's got quite the rap sheet.
And it became a national holiday. Well,
no, it's not.
Well, no, not national.
It's known
But
nationally.
yeah.
Everyone knows of Kwanzaa, but nobody knows anything about it.
Like you can look at your calendar on your phone, and
you'll
pop
see
up.
Kwanzaa, yeah. But yeah, it's actually.
So what does
Pretty messed up.
Scientology celebrate at this time?
I don't know. Does Scientology have holidays?
But the Zetons came down.
Does Scientology even like separate itself from holidays and like consider itself to be a religion, or is it more of just like an ideology?
I honestly do not know.
I think it depends on who you talk to.
Yeah, I mean, it is a cult. I mean, that's definitely.
I mean, if you talk to like John Travolta or
Tom Cruise,
I mean, yeah, it probably is a religion and everything.
maybe.
Gotta get clear.
Did you ever see that movie, The Master, with Philip Seymour Hoffman?
No.
It was loosely based on the founding of Scientology and L. Ron Hubbard. And Philip Seymour Hoffman plays this like cult leader type guy, and it's a weird movie, but it's pretty good.
I'll have to watch it. He's pretty good.
He's dead.
Yeah.
Definitely
He
dead.
was pretty good.
He was, but like the movies he was in, it was usually just like, you know, artsy fartsy kind of stuff. He wasn't in like a whole lot of mainstream movies.
Nothing will ever
And
be.
so I feel like he was always like after he died, everyone was like, he was the best ever. And it's like, yeah,
It's like all anyone ever remembers is that
he was pretty good.
Capote
but-
movie.
Yeah, I didn't even see that one.
Not me.
No?
I always think of him as like he was in Boogie Nights.
Oh yeah, he was in Boogie
You wanna
Nights.
Kiss me, I kiss you.
I don't remember him.
Yeah.
Boogie Nights.
Oh,
I've seen it. I've only seen that movie once, a long
Yeah.
time ago.
Oh man, Boogie Nights, that's a crazy movie. John C. Reilly's in that too. You remember? And he was like real skinny because he was young. I mean, he looked like he was 50 in the face, but he was pretty young in that movie.
nice Jason size.
No, actually, John C. Reilly recently lost like 60 or 70 pounds, and he's like real slim again.
And just recently.
Moonbase,
yeah.
Moonbase 8
Yeah, something like that.
on Showtime. Yeah, I watched the first episode. It was pretty good.
It's got the Tim
Heidecker,
and that
Fred
dude from,
Armisen,
that dude
and
from Portlandia.
John C. Reilly all together. It's a nice little mashup there. And yeah, it's pretty good. But I don't know. What time are we at?
34 minutes, so we gotta vap a little more.
So yeah, this is a pretty short episode so
10
far.
minutes.
That's because we usually start at some point looking at Brian.
Yeah.
You motherfucker.
See, that's the thing. We don't have that that deterrent tonight. So it's like,
We're actually talking about the subject.
yeah, we're actually staying on topic
I'm-
really well.
I'm not out
And
of the box enough.
No, it's like, well, Brian is just like, we'll end up usually having like a 20-minute session of just
Brian
making
ranting.
fun of Brian.
Isn't that really Brian? I mean, our first episode, you went on how you're a Dollar Hut like creation.
I am. I'm a dollar store person. But no, I just, you know, I was going to get more stories for us, but then I realized like, oh, I need another topic now because Brian's dropped out. And then we lost our guest too, so we were short 2 topics for this week, or for recording. So I had to stick with what I had on the stories and move on to the next thing. But
Just gonna rough it out.
yeah.
I do think there is something to this idea of holiday tradition as a barrier to eldritch horrors.
Yes.
So,
Not Eldritch, though.
what?
Well, because Eldritch is fictional horrors, because it's a H.P. Lovecraft term.
All right, whatever. Horrors of old.
Great word, though.
I
It
love
is
that
a great
word. That's why I
word.
love
I know,
using
but
it.
when you use it, it implies Lovecraft.
About arcane horror.
Arcane.
Okay.
I mean, yeah. But yeah, I think there's something to that.
So then, again, War on Holidays. What could we expect to return as this barrier degrades?
I mean, who knows? Like I said, what if this is a world that we're in where we are so far separated from old like magic traditions that we wouldn't even be able to comprehend it? Like, we would be so confused. Like, if something happened, we wouldn't know what to do either to stop it again, because it's not a part of our culture anymore.
I mean, how many kids lay out milk and cookies now? What if that it really is the most important thing to keep Santa from coming in there and drinking your blood and eating your leather Cheerio?
Yeah. Your leather Cheerio. Yes. I don't know, but like, I just feel like that there's somebody out there. Like, if something happens, there's gonna be like some dude with a fedora and a trench coat and a katana who's like, I know what to do. Like, some neckbeard guy like actually genuinely saves the world. Like Brian.
Yeah, I figured you're heading towards Brian there. Except for Brian is beardless.
Beardless, does not wear a fedora nor has a trench coat, but he is a neckbeard by personality.
And he will,
Milady.
he will know what to do.
You look at the
Loves
old
his
traditions
knives.
are being replaced with commercialism.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not, you have to behave because of Santa Claus. You have to behave because this elf on a shelf we bought at Hallmark
Is watching you.
Right.
But what if there's something to that too?
Could there be? I mean, it came out like of nowhere in like, what, 2012, 2013?
Yeah, it did. They exploded. Same time as Krampus. I wonder if there's something to that.
Do you have an elf on the shelf in here that you know of?
But
No.
I'm
I
pretty
had no
sure the
idea
Elf
what
on the
Elf on the
Shelf.
Shelf was until like the past year or two.
Yeah, well, I feel like Elf on the Shelf probably actually has some old folklore background to it. And then like someone was like, let's bring this back. Who knows?
No, I think
They're
it was like
probably
a
like,
children's book,
that's
like a
cute.
children's movie, and then
Maybe.
it was all commercial.
Well, the movie came after the toys were selling like crazy.
Right.
There's
I
a
don't-
movie?
Yeah, it's
horrible.
horrible.
It's bad.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
Your girlfriend probably wanted you to watch it with her this year.
No, not me.
Oh, I'm sorry. She was her new boyfriend to watch it with her.
Oh, poor Jesse. For those who are listening,
I'm just going to make sure. I was like, don't listen to that episode that I appeared on.
Jesse
Oh, no.
got
Listen.
dumped
Listen.
after
You
9
bitch.
years for another man.
This thicker schlong.
No.
Allegedly.
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 This is all allegedly.
That's allegedly that it's another man, or
Allegedly.
Yeah, because I mean that's not set. We don't know that.
are you
So
with
is
her?
it slander or libel?
It's
Which one's which?
suspicion.
If you're not with her, we can say whatever the hell we want.
Kind of.
Not so sure about that one.
It's a weird. Like, I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe this is a total normal breakup for people, but
Probably is.
it's still weird.
Yeah. I mean, your last breakup was much worse, even though it was a much
Well,
shorter relationship.
And it was like freshman year of high school.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a long time
It's
ago.
not. That's like.
Jesse, you probably had the worst breakup of any of us here.
Yeah. No. I was like, I'm pretty sure my breakup probably doesn't hold a candle.
But
So my first divorce.
Yeah, well, I mean, you were married. We weren't married. No kids. So, it was just kind of like okay, I guess I'll see you later then.
yeah, I mean, there's no way to really define a good breakup or a bad breakup
Right.
because no matter how it goes, people feel awful afterwards.
So, like, usually one party does not want to break up.
Well, generally,
And then the
yes.
other party does. So it's like somewhere it's going to suck.
Yeah, it's going to suck on one side. Because,
Jump in, motherfucker.
I have nothing to contribute. I don't know what you are alluring.
Alluring to. Or,
Yeah, I'm close enough.
I don't know.
Fuck it.
I don't know words either.
Yeah. Jason's never had a girlfriend or anything or a wife or anything. Like, he's just,
Oh yeah,
he's
definitely.
just been a single guy forever.
Sure.
Like Brian, though, we had a lot of...
That's like the most fucked up thing about me. It's like I feel like I've never been single. So
you
that's what
really
it's like.
haven't.
It's weird to me.
You've never been a single adult.
Well, especially never been a single adult, but I've had
although I haven't either.
I've had like a little girlfriend since like the first grade.
Oh,
you know, whether it's hanging out at recess or
whether she knew it or not,
or playing Stinky Pinky
so when
at the
she
theater.
was in first grade, how old were you?
17.
Paige?
How many? No, I'm talking about when you had a little girlfriend in first grade. How many years ago was this?
5.
Right.
But yeah, we had a lot of good conversations with Brian last night, actually, about his singleness, and I think
It's almost disappointing about Brian because it's like this dude could slay some ass if he would just get it together.
I don't know. I mean, he looks like he's been through a meat grinder.
Well, that's what
and
we were
not
saying.
open his mouth.
Well, that's what we were saying. We got to put a microphone in his ear and be like, "You only say what we tell you to say
For life.
oh,
yes.
what was there was
for the
a
rest of your
there's
life."
a story like that.
It's been done in a million sitcoms.
No, but there's an older story. It's like the guy with the large nose. Like he can't pull anything, so
Is there no de Bergerac?
that might be correct. Like he hides behind the bush and tells her this guy who's an absolute idiot what to say.
There was Steve Martin did a movie called, I think it was Roxanne.
Yeah, he did with the big nose.
But that was his modern take on Cyrano de Bergerac.
Yeah.
There we go. I knew the thing, I just didn't know the name of it.
Yeah, that was it. But yeah, like if we could just like
anyway.
control Brian's speech for the rest of his life.
No.
But I don't know. I think the conclusion we came to is that Brian's not really interested.
I'm pretty sure he's taking showers now.
Yeah,
so
he's taking showers because Alicia
he doesn't have
let...
this haunting aroma anymore.
It's because Alicia wouldn't let him in the house when he would come over, like if he hadn't showered.
He still only shaves or cuts his hair once a year.
Yep.
It's been a little more than that this time.
Ooh,
it's been like a year and a half
months.
since his last haircut.
Ah,
Yeah, because of COVID.
I think you say not let him speak. I say we just take that right to the honeymoon. As soon as he gets on the honeymoon.
Well, then it was like we'll
There you go.
Wait,
we'll get you through the door, and we'll ease you into yourself.
Have you guys seen Orgasmo?
Oh hell yeah!
He gets in there, stunt cock. You gotta call in the stunt cock. So he does end up getting married and settling down, but he remains a virgin forever because we gotta call in the stunt cock.
Do the song for Orgasmo. Kills me every time.
That song is so funny.
No, it's probably the titties.
That's such a great movie. It's
I gotta
horrible.
watch that again. I gotta find it.
It's on Netflix right now.
It's on Netflix.
Yeah, it's on Netflix right now.
I know what I'm doing tonight.
Yeah, it's not a good movie.
No,
like,
it's
at
absolutely.
all.
It's absolutely.
But it is
horrible.
entertaining.
But
That little guy, he reminded me of somebody. Oh, never mind. It's off topic. You guys don't even know the guy, but this guy in the movie, he's this tiny little guy, and he moved to California because he's like an engineer and he has a bunch of patents and stuff, but then like he also can't get a girl, so he does porn on the side.
it
reminded me so much of a person that I know who is an engineer in California and is also a very small man. It's like maybe he'll get into porn.
What I'm realizing is having Brian here with you guys knowing each other for 10 years or whatever.
Brian and I have known each other for 18 years, I think.
Well, it encourages you to indulge in all your asides because he knows who you're talking about.
Yeah. No, he doesn't actually know the person I'm talking about as far as that, the little guy. I think only my sister would know. But, yeah, Brian and I have known each other a really long time. That's weird to think about. I've known Brian since I was... how old are you when you're in 4th grade?
10, I believe.
10? So I've known Brian for 17 years. We didn't become friends, though, until around age 18. So I knew him for 8 years before I was friends with him.
That explains a lot. It takes a while to, tolerate the Brian.
I don't know. He's a pretty likable guy.
Well, when you're in high school, you can't let people know that you're friends with.
No, it wasn't like that. He was a different person.
Looking motherfucker.
Like, when we were young, he was that kid who would wear those like button-up shirts with like the flames and dragons on them. You know, the shirts you wore in high school, Jason.
I knew you're going there. You fucking...
But so, like, it's just like we didn't have the same friend group or anything like that. And so, like, we didn't get to know each other. But then later on, like, I don't really know what triggered it. But at some point, me and my friends were just like, let's call that guy and, like, have him come hang out with us. And, you know.
And now
that was history.
Love songs make you think of him.
Yeah. Like, I love Brian.
It started with a dinner for schmucks kind of thing and turned out to be friends.
No, it wasn't so much that. It was like we were doing something that we thought like he might really enjoy. I don't remember what it was.
But what made you think you would enjoy his company?
Seeing him do the thing. It was some kind of violent game we were playing. But I don't remember exactly.
Violent video game or actual violence?
Yeah, Brian and I have just been friends for so long.
You guys held like a fight club or something.
Yeah, I think that might have been the start of it, was Fight Club. You don't talk about Fight Club, but we started a fight club.
More like bum fights.
When I was in high school. And I think that is actually how Brian and I became friends, was through Fight Club.
I think every high school has at least one fight club.
Oh, yeah. I mean, why not? It was fun.
Yeah.
The best thing was we had this friend named Nick, he was a kind of a real skinny guy, and so he didn't want to get into any of the fights or anything, but so what he would do is he'd spectate and then just out of nowhere just jump in and punch somebody and run back out.
Yeah, I didn't go. I just
awesome.
edited the video for him.
It was so good. But yeah, I think that's the story of Brian and I. That's our
your Christmas story,
our romantic
Brian.
comedy. That's how we let it be.
You let him open your sister.
Yeah. And then Kevin and I worked together, and one day he walked up to me and he told me a joke that I didn't get, and it wasn't very funny. But we just started talking occasionally because of that.
It was probably about your penchant or one of the...
No, it was something about Mary.
Mary?
Yeah, like Mary from the Bible and like Joseph. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was something about like Joseph being a cuckold.
Oh, I remember that joke.
It wasn't even that good of a joke.
Oh, fuck yeah, it was a good joke. But it
started conversation, but we started talking about like books and stuff. And we
like Pace was a magical place in a way. I mean, it brought the three of us
together, and Brian.
Yeah, and Brian.
He gave us all a target for our hate and anger.
Yeah, that was a magic place. I worked with Jesse there too.
Yep, that's where we met.
Yeah. I was like, before I met Kevin, you're like, hey, I got a friend coming over to game night. He's a little older. And I'm like, a little older? I wasn't expecting Gandalf the Grey to walk into game night. What the
fuck? Yeah, Kevin, he's like, what, 83 now? I think
87.
87.
Man, looking good for 87.
He is. He's looking good.
I'm starting to color the beard again as soon as Christmas is over.
Oh, yeah.
87, and he still has both feet miraculously.
How old are you?
35.
I would see. I was thinking about that earlier, and I was like, I'm like 100% sure Jason's 35, and it was my mom I was talking to. She's like, Jason's like 31. Like, no, he isn't. He's 35. Like, he has to be, because we were talking last night about my sister's boyfriend Michael. He's a cool guy, but he's also 35, and you two are like night and day different. Like, as
because
far as
I have a job?
No, he has a job, but like perceived age. Like I would talk to him and like think like, oh, this guy's my age, you know.
Like if I didn't know, I'd have thought Michael was my age. Wouldn't have questioned it.
And then that's what Brian brought it up. He was like, wait a minute, but Jason seems so much older. I was like, well, Jason's like 10 years older than most 35-year-olds.
It's just
through a lot.
Yeah, I was like early 20s when I started losing my hair, so
yeah,
there's just a huge maturity gap.
Yeah, but yeah.
Well, I know to leave those thoughts inside my head instead of vocalizing them.
Right.
Get your eyeballs off me.
No thoughts stay in my head.
Oh, we know that already.
Yeah, there's no thoughts in there. It just streams out my mouth. It skips my brain. But you know, Merry Christmas. Enjoy this poorly run episode,
and go fuck yourself.
Have fun, everybody.